Welcome to Guys, and today we'll discuss the topic, the introduction and also the implementation of the tools and agents in GenA. Now we'll start with the introduction, why they matter generally, why tools and agents are important when we are trying to build any LLM-based or LLM-powered application. So starting with the definition, they make LLM interactive, dynamic, and goal-driven. So if you are building a chatbot, so if you want to make it more interactive and more dynamic and goal-driven to get the expected result, we need tools and agents in GenA. Now, what are tools? It are the external capabilities. Suppose we are asking the chatbot recent question or the web-based question like recent web results you want, and it cannot be provided by LLM as LLMs are pre-trained on different data sets. So in this at such type of instances, the LLM will not be able to give the current results from the web. So for that part, we use the search engine, we use the calculator. If you want LLM to perform any mathematical calculation, then we need to provide the LLM with calculator, or we need to access the database or retrieve the results from the database. So at such time, we need tools for our chatbot if you're building a chatbot. Now, what are agents? Are the AI decision makers that know when and how to use tools. Now, if we ask the chatbot that I need to perform the multiple mathematical calculations, then and if we have provided these three tools, then the agent does the thinking and action. It decides which tool would be more important for such task. So if you are asking mathematical calculation, then it will go along with these three tools and it will select that the calculator is the main one and it will use the calculator. So it is a decision maker that knows when and how to use tools. So that is the agent part. Now, why it's important? LLMs alone generate text, and agents with tools can take action. If you need to generate any text at that point of time, LLMs are important. But if we need any further actions like using the doing the mathematical calculation or accessing the database or using the search engine, at that point of time we need tools and agents. Now, would you prefer an AI that only talks or one that also acts? So naturally, AI which does not only talk but also performs or acts, we generally prefer that AI. Now, moving on. So, what are tools in generative AI? Now, tools, as per the definition, they are the functions or external services. Now, one more thing important to remember: tools are not just what we can say examples like search engine API. We can also build a function, and it can be also called as a tool. You also need to remember this. Tools are functions or external services that LLMs can use to get real world info or perform tasks. If we need the real world info, we need real time data. At that point of time, we need the search engine API. So it is considered as a tool. We need a code interpreter. We need to connect to the database of, suppose, for example, SQL one. So SQL connector. We need calculator, document retriever to retrieve any particular document. So these are the examples of different tools which can be used for our task. Now, tools are LLMs, hands and eyes to interact with the outside world. If we need to get the result from our current real-time data, at that point of time, we need tools. So they are considered hands and eyes to interact with the outside world. Now, benefits of using tools with LLM. Now, it enables dynamic real-time behavior. If we need real-time data at that point of time, if we are not using any tool, we cannot get that answer. So that would be an important role to be played by the tool. Now, it reduces hallucination mistakes as if we have for example, SERP API, then we can give the real-time data, which would avoid the hallucination part. And so tools are mainly important for reducing the hallucination part. Now, it extends the capabilities of the model. So, if we are able to use tools and agents, we generally get more correct answer to our question. So, it generally extends the capabilities of the model. Now, it lets AI interact with external data and APIs. With tools and agents, we have the capability to interact with the external data and APIs. So that's one more advantage. Now it is great for enterprise automation and agentic tasks for business related purposes, or we need to automate any task, or we need to use agentic tasks. Then at that point of time, tools are generally important. Now, why do you think an LLM might still need Google? So if we are currently asking any questions, like we are asking the LLM, tell me the instant or the if you are considering the current news like Indian Pakistan war, so it will not be able to answer the questions which are more recently appeared. So as LLMs are trained on previous data, and so it will not be able to answer at that point of time. We need Google to get the answer from the chatbot. Now, what are agents in Indian AI? As we have discussed earlier, agents are generally doing the thinking and action of particularly if you are providing multiple tools, then for a particular question, which tool might be important. So thinking about that tool and taking action. Like for example, I'm asking about a mathematical calculation. So if I provided the calculator, then it will think that yeah, for this question, calculator is more important. So it will tell yeah, go for the calculator and answer the question. Thinking and action is done by the agents basically. So what tools to use, when to use it, what input output to be passed between the steps. So these are the steps or the decisions made by the agent. Now they can reason, plan, and act, and not just respond. So doing the reasoning, planning, and taking action are the four steps of the agent. Now we can also think of the agent as a smart assistant that uses the right tool at the right time. So choosing the right tool at the right time is the most important part created by the agency. Now working of tools and agents. Now agents let the model use tools in a loop so that it can decide how many times to use the tool. Now whenever your user passes in a question, we have the LLM, then we have the parser, and after the parser we have multiple tools here. We have Google, we have ChatGPT, we have Wikipedia. Multiple tools are involved here, and it will create any observation while agent will give the we will do the thinking of which tool to use, and after getting the result it will see the output is generated good or not, and if it is not, then it will go into the loop until we get the final response, which is the correct one. So this is the working of tools and agents. Hope you guys understood this image and the working. Now agents versus simple chains. Now logic. If you are using a simple chain, the logic is step by step and it is fixed, while we compare to the agent, it is dynamic, it decides on the fly. Now, in case of simple chain, flexibility is limited, and in agent, we have high flexibility. So, complex tasks can be also achieved using the agent. In case of tools, we have predefined order, and we have to go in a specific order if you want to use simple chain. So, that is not good for some complex tasks. So, at that point of time, agent is very important, and it is adaptive to which tool to use. Now, in case of intelligence, simple chains are predictable, and in case of agent, they are more context aware and goal driven. So, hallucination problems are generally reduced if you use agent. Now, which would you prefer for an unpredictable task? For unpredictable task, as we have discussed here, we'll go towards the agent instead of simple chain, as it is more context aware and goal driven. So this is the comparison between the agents versus simple chains, and why we prefer agents over simple chains for a particular task. Now we have different types of agent here. We have LangChain and OpenAI agent. We have the React agent, which thinks, acts, then observes the outcome and then decides the output. Then we have the conversational agent, which tracks the history in chat. Now conversational agent is much more important when we are trying to build a chatbot. So where we track the history of the user in the chat. So at that point of time, conversational agent is very important. Now tool using agent. Now it integrates multiple tools dynamically. So when we need to use multiple tools, it can integrate by using the tool using agent. And we can also build the custom agent designed for specific domain for a particular task. Like if we are working with the legal or finance department, at that point of time we need custom agents. So custom agents are very important as many tasks are domain specific. Now, which industry will benefit most from the tool using agent? Now, we have seen here, we can use for chatbot, we can use for the specific legal, specific domains like legal or finance or health. So, domain specific industries are using more tool using agent. Now, the key components of an agentic system, when we are trying to see agentic AI, which is the coordination between the parts, we have the LLM, we have the prompt, we have the memory, we have the planning, we have the execution. Now, generally, when we think of LLM, brain, it is the most important part, which is the brain for language understanding. Whatever the input we pass to the LLM, so doing the language understanding part and giving the output in the more human understandable format is done by the LLM. Then we need the prompt plus tool, which is the instruction and abilities which we are giving to the LLM powered application. By using user specific prompts and tools, we can reduce the hallucination problem. Then comes the memory, which stores the previous steps of chat. In case of the, if we are building a chatbot, at that point of time, we need to see the previous history of the user. So there we need memory to store the previous steps of chat, so we can get actual answer expected by the user. Now planning, it breaks down the complex task Whenever we have complex tasks, we need to break down the process. And at that point of time, we need the planning, which is much more important. And execution is decide and act and loop if needed. So deciding factor is done by the agent. He will think and take action. And even if the answer is not good, then it will go again and see which tools can increase the accuracy of an answer. So at that point, loop play an important role to get the expected answer. Now we have a tip here that good agents can learn from outcomes and retry. So agents is considered good when we take action from the output. If we are not getting the expected output, then it will also do the trial and see how we could improve the accuracy of an answer. Now the use cases of tools and agents in real life, we have to see the real world scenario here. Now the chatbot that requires that queries internal documents whenever we need to work on the internal documents of the we use a rack based architecture, and in case of rack based architecture we generally use tools and agents. The AI assistant that book appointments using API whenever we are trying to suppose, for example, we are going into the medical field and we need to book an appointment with the doctor. At that point, right, we are using an AI assistant. We can use that for booking appointment using APIs. Now the code bot that writes and debug program, we are using a bot for coding which can write any program, specific program, and also debug it. For that part of time we also need tools and agents. Now the analyst bot that runs SQL queries live. So a bot which works as a data analyst can be also required to run the SQL queries live. The custom service agent that pulls from CRM plus calendar. If we are using a service agent and we need the CRM and also the track the previous records on a particular date, so CRM plus calendar can be used for the custom service agent. And these are the real world scenarios which are mostly using tools and agents. Now, which of these would take you the most time? So naturally, when we are using the tools and agents, we save time as we are not as we are able to get the expected answer at a particular time limit instead of working. If we are facing the hallucination part from the LLM, so at that point of time, tools and agents will generally get the expected answer in less time, and so we are basically saving the time most of the time when we are using tools and agents. Now, the risk and challenges are also involved if we are using tools and agents. First of all, it is slow if too many tools are used. If we are passing too many tools, so for thinking and action by the agent, more time is required. So it can be slow if many tools are involved. Now it can be complex to manage tool logic. It generally gets complex when we need to manage the tool logic. So that is also this challenges we face. Now LLM may misuse the tool at particular point of time. If you are providing multiple tools here, it can also misuse your tool. Then you also have the tool limits like the API restrictions or outdated info. So that is one of the challenges we face. Now it can be costly also if we are querying multiple tools repeatedly. So if we are working on a tool and we are not getting the expected answer and we are still stuck in the loop of getting the correct answer, then it can cost high cost and it generally cost higher. So that is also a risk and challenges. Now the solution is use guardrails, tries and proper prompting. If our prompting techniques are much more accurate and precise, so these challenges can be avoided. We can also use guardrails and retries. Now we'll see the summary part, what we have learned from the tools and agent part. From the slide presentation, that tools extend what LLM can do. If a particular task is achieved by LLM, then we can extend the capability of the LLM if we add tools and agents to them. And agents are smart orchestrator that decides how to use tools. So deciding which tool to use at which point of time is also very important, which is done by the agent. Now together, if they enable goal driven and context aware AI system. So if you need a chatbot, for suppose we are building a chatbot, we need to be more goal driven or more context aware. Then at that point of time, tools and agents are important. Now it is useful for search, automation, decision making, and retrieval tasks for getting the current news or scenarios from the web or the real time data at that point of time. We need them if we need to automate any tasks, if we need decision making or the travel tasks. At that point of time, tools and agents are very important. Now we have activity here. Need to design agent that can answer HR questions from an employee database. Which tools or what tools we need? So this is the question you need to discuss and build or design an agent and see if it can answer the HR question from the employee database. Now, what one tool you would love your AI assistant to have and why? Think about this part. We have discussed multiple tools here. And for an AI assistant, which tool do you think will be more important and why? So we are finished with the introduction and we'll move towards the implementation part. Hello everyone. Now we'll start the implementation of tools and agents in our Google Colab. So first of all, we need to import our OpenAPI keys and SERP API. So start with from Google.colab import user data, and we'll mention the OpenAI key. AI key equal to user data dot get OpenAI for SERP. Now the SERP API key will be important while getting the real-time data from the web. So for that, the user data dot get, as mentioned, SERP API. Okay, user data dot get SERP API. Right. Okay. Now we'll get that keys in our environment. So OS dot environment. Okay. Open AI API key. Open AI key. Right. And OS dot environment. Okay. SERP API. API. SERP API. Okay. Now we'll install LangChain. Keep install LangChain. Then LangChain community. Right. And we need OpenAI. I'll add this output. Then LangChain dot LLM import OpenAI. Right. Now we'll mention our OpenAI in LLM. OpenAI. I will not mention the model name. So now, what if I ask LLM any particular calculation? So print LLM and what is 6.7, 5.64, okay, into, okay, to give a particular answer. Now we'll see it manually. Okay. Now the correct answer is this one, but the LLM has answered is that the answer is 2022. So which is wrong. So at this point of instance, we need some calculator which will get our answer for a mathematical calculation. So for that part, and this is for the mathematical calculation. Now if I ask LLM who is CM of Maharashtra, okay. Now, it is answering the current Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Uddhav Thackeray, which is not correct as the current Chief Minister is Devendra Fadnavis. So, it is not giving answer to the current best, what we can say, scenarios. So, for that part, we need tools and agents. So, we'll start. Now, there are three important parts in a particular LLM powered application if you are using the tools and agents. So, for tools and agents, first is the LLM. We have used the LLM part. Now, second is tools, and third one is agent. Now, what we are using tool for to solve any problem. So here we felt that we need any current scenario based tool. So we'll use SERP API, which will give the real time data, and we need also calculator. So for solving any particular problem, we need tools. So we'll define tools as to solve any problem, and agents are what they do thinking and action. So that's the use case of tools and agents for any LLM powered application. Now we'll try to use calculator for that. So mention calculator. Now for that, from LangChain dot agent import, we'll mention the load tool and we'll mention initialize agent. So for tool, now mention the load tool, will mention in your LLM map, and we'll mention the LLM here. LLM is equal to LLM, and after that we need an agent. So initialize agent, and we'll mention the tool here. What tool we have used here, tool for tool and LLM, and we'll mention the agent. Now while mentioning the agent, we will mention it as zero shot reaction description. description, and verbose equal to proof. Okay. Now LLM math, it is an predefined LangChain tool that can be used to answer any question which has a math problem. So now we'll see how it is working. And verbose we used to see the working of how the process is going in the flow. Now we'll mention agent that invoke and we'll mention the same problem which you are facing earlier. While using the LLM, simple LLM, it was giving the wrong answer. Now we'll ask it again. See, when we see verbose is equal to true, it is doing thinking and action here. It is observing also the answer is correct or not. First of all, it thought that it looked like a math problem that involves order of operation. Now, action, we have used the tool calculator, action input and observation, then thought. I should be double check my work to make sure I didn't make any mistake. And again for calculator, action input, observation, answer is this one. Thought it looks like accident, they entered the negative sign in front of the answer. Then again action, calculator, input, observation, and thought. And I now know the final answer. So this answer will be similar. So by using the calculator tool, we have basically solved the mathematical calculation problem which was previously not able to solve using the LLM. So in this way we can use the calculator. Now we'll see for the current search result or the real-time data, it was giving the wrong answer, right? We had asked who is the CM of Maharashtra. It gave the past answer. The current Chief Minister of Maharashtra is Uddhav Thackeray, which is not the correct one as considered to the real-time data. Now we'll see how we could get the right answer. For that, we need to install pip install Google search result. Okay, Google search result. Then we'll mention the tool here. Tool equal to load tool. Here we'll mention the SERP API. Okay, we'll mention the LLM. LLM is equal to LLM. Now we'll mention the agent. Initialize the agent. Here we'll mention the tool if you are using. Then we'll mention the LLM. We'll mention the agent here. Zero shot React description. Description. Okay, and we'll mention verbose equal to. Now we'll ask it agent dot invoke who is PM of Maharashtra. We can see how it is working because they have mentioned verbose is equal to true. Now, I should use the search engine to find the current Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Action search, action input, Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Observation is Devendra Fadnavis of the Bharatiya Janata Party since December 5 December 2024. Action search, action input, observation, thought. I should also check for any recent news or updates regarding Maharashtra Chief Minister. Action search, recent news, Maharashtra. Observation, Devendra Fadnavis said key security meet amid India-Pakistan tension. So it has generated thought. I now know the final answer. Final answer is the current Chief Minister of Maharashtra is Devendra Fadnavis. So in this way, we can use different tools to get the scenario-based answer of the real time data. So this is how tools and agents work. Hope you guys understood. And if you have understood, please like this video and subscribe our channel. Till then, bye. We'll meet over the next video.